In modern dating culture, especially in the West, emotional games are not just common, they're expected. Many women are raised in environments that subtly reward manipulation, ambiguity, and emotional push-pull as a way of testing a man's emotional resilience and value. This isn't about cruelty, it's about strategy, survival, and perceived worth. Women test boundaries not because they want chaos, but because they want clarity. Is he grounded? Is he easily swayed? Will he collapse if I withdraw attention? These aren't games for fun, they're psychological filters. Detachment is not coldness, it's power. It is the ability to remain centered in the face of emotional provocation. When a woman pulls away, delays replies, flirts with others, or gives you mixed signals, most men panic. They chase, they explain, they react, and in doing so, they disqualify themselves. Absolute detachment means you do not negotiate with disrespect. You don't chase someone who tries to control the narrative through absence. Instead, you remain calm, focused, and unbothered. That's rare, and what's rare is attractive. Many men ask, should I play the game back? The answer is no. You don't play the game, you exit the game, and that exit is your power. A man who is unaffected by silence, manipulation, or tests is a man who transcends the emotional loop most women use to filter the weak from the strong. Detachment is not passive. It is awareness. You observe, you understand, but you do not participate in patterns that cost you peace. Let her wonder why you didn't react. Let her feel the weight of her own silence. Let her chase her own confusion. When she withdraws, you stay focused on your purpose. When she provokes, you smile and stay silent. When she plays hot and cold, you remain warm with your mission, cold with her confusion. You are not here to react, you are here to lead. True detachment shows in your lifestyle. You don't text constantly, you don't wait by the phone, and you don't seek validation. You invest your energy into purpose, fitness, brotherhood, and freedom. That's the man she can't manipulate. That's the man she's drawn to, without understanding why. Detachment isn't a moment, it's a lifestyle. If your life revolves around chasing women, you will always be emotionally reactive. But if your life revolves around your mission, your principles, your brotherhood, and your peace, you become the man who cannot be shaken. Wake up with a schedule, hit the gym, read daily. Eliminate distractions. Build something, a business, a body, a vision. When your life is filled with purpose, emotional games become obvious and unattractive. You spot the game from miles away, and you don't engage. Once you stop reacting, something shifts. The same woman who once tested you will begin to re-engage. She reach out more, ask where you've been. Try to provoke a reaction to confirm her place in your life. This is not love, it's response to absence. Don't get high off her renewed attention. Stay centered. If she is genuine, her consistency will prove it. But if it's just another game, your detachment will protect you. Never reward the return, reward only the real. She just texted you something passive-aggressive. Or, B, she left you on read. Maybe she disappeared for days just to see how you'd react. Most men respond fast, emotionally, carelessly, but not you. You've evolved. You see, silence is not weakness, it's pressure. It makes her sit with herself. It forces her to feel the gap that your presence used to fill. When you say nothing, you're not ignoring her, you're making a statement. I don't need this chaos in my peace. The more you speak, the more power you give away. But when you say nothing, the spotlight shifts. She's no longer in control of your emotions. She's now chasing the meaning behind your silence. Detachment isn't just not texting first. It's being okay with silence, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's not ghosting, it's growth. You don't speak to be heard. You speak when it serves your purpose. And sometimes, the most powerful thing a man can say is nothing. So, what happens when silence doesn't bring her back? What if she moves on, pretends she's unaffected, or even plays harder. That's where real detachment is tested, not in silence, but in how far you're willing to walk alone. There comes a point where silence is no longer a strategy, it's the exit. You gave her time, space, dignity, you held your ground. But she kept playing, she kept testing, she kept pushing, and now, you're done. Not out of spite, not to prove a point, but because you finally see the truth. She's not confused. She's not healing. She's not lost. She just doesn't value what you bring to the table, and that's enough. Walking away completely doesn't mean you're heartless. It means your self-worth finally caught up to your emotions. You're no longer tolerating confusion, hot and cold behavior, or tension-seeking traps. You're walking, not to hurt her, but to protect your future self. Because every second you spend in someone else's emotional game ... is a second stolen from your purpose, your peace, and your power. And you don't trade your kingdom for a circus. You walk, not loudly, not dramatically, but with quiet certainty, the kind that leaves no door open behind you. But the story doesn't end when you walk away. In fact, that's when it truly begins, when she realizes you're not coming back. That's when the panic sets in. That's when the silence gets loud. For her, you walk away, and at first, she's calm. She thinks it's another move in the game. She thinks you'll come back. She's seen it before, men leaving only to return the moment she sends a hey text. But not this time. This time, it's different. Because this time, you didn't flinch. You didn't post sad quotes. You didn't stalk her stories. You disappeared, completely, and that silence, it grows. It echoes in her chest like thunder in a hollow room. Because now, she starts wondering, did I go too far? Is he really gone? Why isn't he chasing me like the others? The panic doesn't come from losing control over you. It comes from realizing you were never under her control to begin with. That's when she spirals. Old photos suddenly matter. Old memories hit harder. The attention she once ignored, she now craves, but it's too late. Because you've stepped into your power. You've replaced obsession with purpose, neediness with discipline, confusion with clarity. Her panic is not your responsibility, her regrets, not your burden. Because the man who walks away with dignity and silence walks into a future she no longer has access to. Now that you've reclaimed your power, what's next? Where do you go from here? This is where most men slip, back into old habits, old wounds, old cravings. But not you, because you're about to learn the final rule of detachment. Protect your peace at all costs. You walked away, you detached, but now comes the hard part, staying detached. She come back, not always with love. Sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with guilt, sometimes with manipulation wrapped in soft words. Hey, how have you been? I miss our conversations. You were always the good guy. It sounds innocent. It feels familiar. But it's not peace. It's a trap. You see, peace doesn't come from absence of noise. Peace comes from the discipline to avoid noise altogether. Peace isn't something she gives you. Peace is something you guard. She tried to reopen doors you've already closed. But you remember why you closed them. Because you weren't just detaching from her. You were detaching from the version of yourself that tolerated her games. This is not about hate. It's not even about revenge. It's about boundaries. It's about not letting someone back into a space they once disrespected. It's about protecting the man you've become. So, when she returns, and she will, ask yourself one thing: is this peace? Or is this nostalgia disguised as connection? And if the answer isn't peace, you already know what to do. You've come this far. You've rebuilt yourself in silence. But now, it's time to rise, because detachment is just the beginning. Real power comes when you rebuild your mission. You didn't walk away from her just to be alone. You walked away to walk toward your purpose. Because when you stop chasing someone, you start chasing yourself. Now it's time to rebuild, not out of spite, not to prove anything to her, but because your life has meaning far beyond her games. This is where most men fall. They leave the girl, but forget to build the man, not you. You rise. You rebuild your body, your habits, your bank account, your network, your discipline, your peace. You wake up early. You train hard. You read more. You listen less to noise and more to your calling. Because the best revenge is not a new girl. The best revenge is not success in her face. The best revenge is no revenge at all, just complete indifference. A life so focused, so powerful, so aligned, that her name becomes irrelevant. You don't need to prove anything. You just build everything. This is your mission now, not to chase her, but to chase your future. She played games. You walked away, and now you've become the man no game can control. Not because you won the game, but because you stopped playing it. Your silence became your weapon. Your focus became your fortress. Your detachment became your rebirth. Now you're untouchable. She's watching. Let her. You're not who you were. You're who you were meant to be.